Hey, good morning. So the last two drawings we're going to do for the year, OP2 and OP3, again, are both orthographic projections. That's what we're going to try to do. So what I'm going to do is send you the file that has the isometric views of OP2 and OP3. So what I would suggest, if you take a screenshot from the Google Classroom doc of OP2 and OP3, what you could do is drag those into your screen and then just click and drag here. I'm going to try that again. Click and drag a box so you can actually see the drawing. Press enter, and what this is going to do for you, it's going to allow you to see the measurements that I'm going to be going with here. And I'm going to save a lot because sometimes when I bring in an additional drawing, it likes to shut down, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so what I want to do is try to make a orthographic projection, which is a top, front, right side view. I want to include the necessary lines, and so what I've given you here, I've set up two 90-degree boxes, one for OP2 and one for OP3. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to try to figure out what the actual front view is, and this is pretty easy to kind of dissect, I guess, if you would. Total width is 3, total height is 1 3/4, the depth is 1. I don't really need that in the front view. So I'm going to go ahead and start the actual front view. So I'm going to take this projection line right here and I'm going to offset it 3 inches. So I'll go to my offset, I'm going to offset 3. Okay. And what we're going to do is introduce a new trick called the 45-degree projection plane, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is offset the height. So I'll go to offset and enter. The height is 1.75. And then I'll offset this up. Now this is kind of going into the other drawing, so I'm gonna basically trim that out because I don't need it. So I'm gonna zoom out, and I'm gonna leave this area alone for now. So I'll get rid of this right here. All right. So if I zoom in, so there's the total width and height of my drawing. This looks a bit higher again. It actually looks like a box. So let me make sure I've got offset set correctly here. 1.75. There you go. So I'll get rid of this right here. We don't need that. All right, so we're back here. So total width is 3, total height is 1.75. Now, what I want to do is try to figure out this little channel that's taken out. It's telling me that it's 1 inch down and it's 1.5 wide. So I'm probably going to have to do a little math. Actually, no, I don't, because it already tells you what the width of this tower is, and it's symmetrical, so the width of this is the same. So what I can do is go over here and offset 3/4 or 0.75, and then bring those in. Now I need to figure out what this is. This is 1 inch, so again I'll offset 1 inch. There it is. Do a quick save. Okay, so again, I've got a lot of lines going on here, so I'm going to edit here, get rid of some things that I don't need. So I'll trim out these two. And I'll leave the rest of these projection lines for later. Okay. What I can do is try to make it look more like the front view by getting rid of this right here, which I don't need, and I can get rid of these now too. And that. Okay, so there's my front view. Now, usually when we set up our different views, again, top, front, right side, we want those to be separated. So this is obviously the very top of my, my drawing. So what I'm going to do is offset this. We want to separate our views 2 inches. So I'm going to set that to 2. And then what I'll do is take this and drag this right over. And again, I don't really care if I overextend it because I'm going to trim it later. Now, off of the top part of my front view, what I can do to help line things up is create what's called a 45-degree projection plane. So what I'm going to do is just draw a line here. This over here. And I'm going to connect right to the top corner of my front view. And I'm going to say at, I don't know, I'll pick a random number, 5 less than 45. Now, if you don't want to do this, that's totally fine. Just wanted to show you a trick and how we actually use that. Okay, so I'm going to move on here and create my top view. So the top view right now, with everything being projected up, it's going to be pretty simple. It's telling me that the top view is basically 1 inch deep. So if I offset this line right here 1 inch, this is going to become pretty much done. All right, so if I look at my top view, there's 1, 2, 3 planes, 1, 2, 3 planes, 1, 2, 3 planes. Okay, now you can see the width of my top view right here and the front line, they all intersect with that 45-degree projection plane. So again, I'm going to zoom out here and maybe clean some things up so it doesn't get too confusing. You're like, oh yeah, too late, Mr. Strobel. But I'm going to keep this right here. I'm going to get rid of these now because I don't need them, but I'm going to keep these right here because I'm going to use that for my my side view. All right, do a quick save. Okay, so this 45-degree projection plane is really helpful because now I really don't have to offset. What I can do is just draw a line, connect right to that intersection, and bring it straight down, and then repeat line, bring that straight down, and connect that. So that 45-degree projection plane really helps line things up and keeps it 2 inches apart. And now again, I can go through and get rid of things I don't need. So I'm going to trim, get rid of these now, get rid of that. I'm going to keep this because this is an important line, and I'll explain why in just a second here. Get rid of that. And I'm right mouse clicking to delete all these things. Okay. So as you can see right here, there's a plane that drops down. In an isometric view, you don't ever show hidden lines. So right over here, what I'm going to do is actually, I want to show that there's a plane. I have to show that in orthographic projection. That's the whole point of it, is to give as much detail as possible. And what I'll do here, because I projected that over, that shows that plane. So if I look in the side view on a normal object, I would not be able to see that. But in orthographic projection, I have to show that. So there's a few things I can do here. One, I can highlight everything, trim out the lines I don't need, which includes that, that. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to go into my layer manager. So what I'm going to do before I do anything is I'm going to highlight all these projection lines, and I'm going to change those. I'm going to go up to my layer manager, and I'm going to make sure I bring those into the 0 layer because those are the thicker lines. All right, and again, I'll probably take this as well and put that into the 0 layer because those are the object lines. Okay, now this one right here I know is not an object line, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go to my layer manager and I'm going to bring that and put that into the hidden layer, and that becomes a hidden line. We're all set. So the last thing I'm going to do here is trim out that last line that I don't need. And then yeah, I can get rid of that 45-degree projection plane, but what I'm going to do is actually move that because I'm going to use that for later in this next drawing. Okay, so what I'll do is a quick save here. So before you end, what I'm going to ask you to do is go back into your projection layer, and it should stay there, and give yourself another start line for OP-3. Okay, and again, always save. So what you're going to do at this point, leave this because we're going to give another demo on OP3. And once both of these are done, you will then email this file to me, and we'll take the snapshot from there. So I'm going to close out of that or cancel that. I'm just going to minimize this. Okay, so we're going to move into OP-3, same thing as before. What we're going to do is, I would again ask you to take a screenshot from the Google Doc. It's right there. Bring that onto your desktop, and when you bring that in, you can drag that into your workspace, click and drag, and that's going to help show you. Click, drag, press enter, and that's going to show you all the measurements you're going to need for this. So let me move these out of the way. So I'm in the projection layer, and let me just do a quick save. All right, so this is going to help me figure out what's going on. This one actually has a slight plane to it, so that's going to affect where this 45-degree projection plane goes. I'm not going to worry about that just yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and try to figure out, just like I did on the other one, what the total height and width of the front view is. So I'm not going to draw this and worry about the inclined plane just yet. What I'm going to do is offset over 4 and up 2.5, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to offset the width of the object 4 inches and offset that up 2.5. Okay, now at this point what I'm going to do is take that 45-degree projection plane that I borrowed from OP2 and I'm going to connect that right to the intersection because I'm going to use that for later. So I'm going to move that, I'm going to go right to that endpoint, and I'm going to go right to this endpoint right here, and that's going to work out for me for later. Again, I understand that you would think to put that 45-degree projection plane right here. You don't. You want to go with the total height and width of the front view. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about the slope just yet. I'm going to offset the width of the top view, and that's looking like 2 inches wide. All right, so first and foremost, we want to separate our views at least by 2 inches. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is offset 2, and I'm going to offset my top line and then offset that line. Now it's telling me that the width or the depth of the top view is 2 inches. So we might run out of room with our projection plane, but that's not a big deal. Probably don't even have to use it for this one. Maybe, we'll see. So I'm going to offset 2 inches for the top view here and my side view. So what I'm going to do, I want to be able to use this. So I want to make sure that I extend this up or click on it and drag it right up. Okay, so once you extend this 45-degree projection plane, we're pretty much set up here. So now what we're going to do is try to figure out the slope, how to work with that, and kind of finish out the front view here. That's going to be fairly simple because it tells you the width of this plane and it tells you the height of that plane. So it's just a matter of offsetting. So I know there's going to be a few lines here. So I'm going to offset this over 2 inches. Okay, why 2 inches? Well, because it says that right here. It says that the width of this plane right here is 2 inches. Okay, and once I do that, I'm going to offset this one up 1.5 inches, and then I'm just going to connect. All right, so I've got a lot of lines here. I'm not worried about that just yet. I just want to focus on this front view. So I'm going to offset this up 1.5. Before things get out of hand, what I'm going to do is connect this line to here. And there's my plane. So what I'll do here is zoom out, and I'm going to just sort of clean out the front view here by trimming some things. All right, so this projection line is going to help me out for later. So I can get rid of this, and I'm going to keep those for right now and get rid of that. Okay, this one I'm not going to be able to trim. All I'm going to do is just delete it. Okay, so the next thing here, my side view is about done, my top view is about done, so what I'm going to do is highlight everything, and now I can just really clean this up. I'm going to keep that 45-degree projection plane. I might need that. Okay, so I know I've got some lines left here, and what I'll do here is go into my view. All right, so now I've got a circle to deal with. So there's some dimensions here that tell you what's going on. It says that this circle is a 1/2 inch radius. It tells you that the center point of the circle is 1 inch in and 1 inch over. So my X and Y axis of that circle is 1 and 1. So I'm going to do that in my top view. So I'm going to offset 1 inch over and down. Okay, so there's my center point for the circle. Now I need to draw the circle. It said it's a 1/2 inch radius. So I'll go into here. It's already set up. I'm going to specify my center point, and it's already asking for the radius, and we know that that's 0.5. There it is. Okay. Now what do I do with this? Well, what I can do is use this, and this is where the 45-degree projection plane is going to come in handy, and my different lines. What I'm going to do is actually switch over to my hidden line layer. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to go right from my top view straight down, and I'm going to do that again. Okay, and this is where that 45-degree projection plane is going to be helpful in getting those hidden lines, because I have to show those in the side view as well. So line, and I'm going to come straight over that. Okay, you'll notice that I overextended them. So where these lines of that top view hit the 45-degree projection plane, this is where I'm going to drag those down and connect them. Okay, so I've got some work to do here. I've got to get rid of things that I don't need, and I've got to change things into the zero layer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first trim out stuff that I don't need. Go all the way across here. I don't need that stuff anymore. I don't need this anymore. And I'm just going to delete this. And then I can get rid of these now. Okay, there's my top view. I can get rid of this line. Okay, so just by offsetting everything and extending things, all your lines sort of transfer. So I'm going to take these lines right here, and I'm going to put these into that zero layer. So hopefully to this point you're watching and kind of going through. I'm just going to go up to my projection layer. I'm going to change those over to the object layer. Do a quick save, and this is done. So these are the last two drawings of the year. Hopefully you kind of went through the drawing. Hopefully you were able to bring in these drawings from the doc, because it's helpful to look at the dimensions, and hopefully you're able to follow the video and draw these exactly the way I did, and you should have no issues. So I'm going to do a file save and then get out of here. And I'll post this video, and good luck and have fun.